Hi, we're Samantha and Tom, and these are our girls Mila and Callie. 2 years ago, we packed up our home and hit the road travelling full-time in a caravan. We quickly fell in love with the lifestyle and decided to have our very own custom built here in Australia. Fast forward 20 months, 7 states and one big lap later, we're here to give you an honest tour of our little home on wheels. We'll show you the best and worst parts, from the dirty and damaged to the things we'd change if we did it all over again. So meet the star of the show, our 2023 Wild Trail Equestro 22.6 foot caravan. It's fully decked out with an ensuite, bunk beds and even a dishwasher. But after 20 months on the road, it's definitely seen some wear and tear. So let's jump in and show you around. First up, we've got our bedroom. So let's cover the dirty. The only thing that has really gotten dirty is at the head of the bed, there's a little section and it gets a bit dusty. So it's currently due for a bit of a wipe down because it's quite filthy. But apart from that, our doona cover does get quite dirty. It is a light color, as you can see. And Mila does eat her lunch on here most days because I need the table at the same time as her eating lunch. So the bed cover cops it a fair bit. There is no damage in the bedroom, and the only thing that we would change in here is probably make it a king bed. It would eat away at the space that we have here, which I really like having, but it would be quite nice to have a little bit more space in our bed. Next up, we've got the kitchen. This is definitely probably the place that gets the most dirty the most often, but the biggest issues that we come to with the kitchen is definitely the pantry and the fridge are an absolute mess every time that we travel. Things get thrown around, there's pasta all over the place in the cupboard, and every time you open the freezer when you stop somewhere, ice bricks just fly out at you. A little bit has been damaged in the kitchen, especially things like the bench top. We've had a lot of things dropping on this bench top, and it has unfortunately chipped it. The first few times this happened made me very upset. And actually, fun fact, the very first scratch in this caravan was in the kitchen, and it was the first day that we moved into it. I dropped a metal pole and it scraped down the wall, and that was our very first bit of damage to this caravan. So that is in the kitchen. There is something that we've already changed in our kitchen, and that is our pantry. It is a full-size pantry, which is awesome, but originally it was a metal slide-out pantry, and I did not like that. It wasted so much space in the pantry area. So a few months into caravanning, I decided to get a builder in to rip out the metal insert, and instead he installed some shelving for us. These shelves are really spaced out, which is great because I can see everything from where I'm standing rather than having to like crouch down and shuffle through this tiny space, which is good because the pantry is obviously thin being in a caravan. The other thing that's been damaged in the kitchen is the fridge shelf. One of the shelves keeps falling out if we travel with things that are too heavy on it. So we've been duct taping this one up to last us as long as possible, but I'm feeling like a replacement is going to be needed very, very soon because just on the weekend it snapped again, and here I was duct taping it a little bit more. So I'm thinking it's going to stop working soon. And one thing that we really want to change in the kitchen but just haven't yet for some silly reason is our bin. The bin is just like a little 10 or 15 litre bathroom bin from like Kmart or something, and I desperately want to install a slide out bigger bin. You'd think that living in this caravan 20 months we would have already done that, especially because the bin is something you use multiple times a day, but we just haven't gotten around to it, and it mustn't be that annoying that it like pushes us to do it quickly. So we're just dealing with that for now, and hopefully one day we find the right insert or something. If you have a slide out bin, please let me know how you've done it, or recommend any brands that we should try installing in our caravan. And then we get to the dining room. Apart from the kitchen, this is probably the most used space. The girls sit here all the time. They can do their colouring, their drawing, their toys, their schoolwork. They do that all here. Obviously, we also eat our meals here, and I just really like having a little lounge space where we can come and relax. Definitely the dirtiest part of our lounge and dining room now is the couch cushions. They held up so well for so long, and I think that's because I would Scotch guard the entire cushions every few months. This protected them and helped them last much longer. But just lately, the last few months, any water that spills on them, it's just soaking through and it's leaving big watermarks. Food doesn't really stain it that much. We just kind of wipe it off straight away and the food stains disappear. Obviously, if you dropped like a cherry on it or something and you didn't wipe it up quickly, it would probably stain it. But we've been really good to just keep an eye on the couch and find spills quickly because we do love the light colour of the cushions. And if we did rebuild, I wouldn't change the colour of the cushions because I like the light interior. Another thing that is Also in the dining room, but technically it's all throughout the caravan, is our window seals are dirty. This one's got like crayons shoved in there and we can't get them out, and all the others just have a lot of dirt and dust buildup that I really need to get to and clean it all out because it's getting pretty out of control. So that's a little bit embarrassing. The thing that has broken in our dining area is our tabletop, to the point where the mechanism does not work anymore, which is really annoying because the kids are always kicking it out into the kitchen area and I'm trying to obviously walk past it all the time, so that's a little bit annoying. But Wild Trail have been really great in following it up with me, and we've got a new sliding mechanism in the post right now ready to be replaced, so hopefully we can fix it when we get that piece. And the thing I would change in our dining room is probably to have like a pop-out leg cushion at the end here. This is the spot that I sit in the caravan, and I would love to have like a little pop-out footrest at the end. It's just not quite long enough and I get sore calves from them sitting like that, but obviously it's a first world problem, so I'll deal with it. But that could be a really cool addition if you're wanting a little footrest in your lounge area. And now we've got the girls' bedroom. In here, the biggest thing that gets dirty is probably the fans because we use them every night. So I'm constantly wiping down these fans to try and keep the dust at a minimum. We have to close the concertina door at night time to try and help the girls to get to sleep, and that obviously blocks out the air conditioner. So the fans are really necessary when they're going to bed. Once they're asleep though, we open the concertina door and we turn the fans off, but they still manage to get very dusty in that time. For the damage, I wouldn't say that this is a caravan damage, but Mila's stickers are absolutely destroyed. She has been peeling them pretty much ever since they went on, so the aesthetics of those stickers is ruined. They really need to be replaced, but I'm worried she's just going to do it again, so I'm kind of just waiting for her to get through that stage of wanting to peel the stickers off the walls. But of course now Callie's in that stage, so we might be waiting a while. So I probably should just get new ones now. In Callie's bed, we had to cover her blind a long time ago with a bit of board that we duct taped it over. This was obviously to keep it blacked out, but also she was opening her blinds and ripping the blind on the side, so part of our blind under this sheet is damaged. I don't remember exactly how it looked, but I'm pretty sure it's quite bad, so I'm really disappointed about that. We should have covered it up before she got to it. So if you do have a little baby in your caravan, cover those blinds up before they destroy them. The thing I'd probably change about the bunk area is that I wouldn't mind having a bathroom first and then a bunk area after. So the layout would pretty much be the entire caravan as it is on that side, but then once you walk through the concertina door, I wouldn't mind having a little bathroom there and then go through another door to get to the bunk area. I think it would split up the rooms a lot better, and we wouldn't be disturbing the girls in the night if we had to go to the toilet or use the shower. After the girls' bedrooms, you come into the bathroom. The bathroom is obviously pretty dirty because we've got a cassette toilet. Now, it's not dirty in a gross way, but when you think about the fact that you've got a little toilet like this in a small space, it's pretty dirty even when it's clean. Now, I've been pretty lucky, and in the whole 2 years of caravanning full time, I've only ever had to empty this cassette toilet one time. Honestly, it wasn't that bad, and if you can wash your hands immediately after you do it, it's okay. But I'm so grateful that that is a Tom job, so he has had the pleasure of doing that for the last 2 years, even though he never even uses it. Another thing that has gotten dirty in the bathroom area is the shower seals. They have gotten like this stain underneath them that I can't get off with like a mold cleaner or anything. I'm not sure whether I left it too long between cleaning or if this is just something that happens, but the seals are starting to stain as well. Now let's get to the damage. Our shower plug actually popped out of place about a year ago when we were traveling. We arrived to our campsite and we had a shower that night. We were wondering what the huge leak was outside, and we came into the shower and saw that our plug was like all bent up and popped. So that wasn't great, but we just sealed it up again and it's been fine ever since. Another thing that we had damaged in our bathroom is that we had a leak in our shower. It wasn't siliconed properly when we had it made, which Wild Trail did acknowledge and they fixed it for us. Unfortunately, when they were fixing it, they had to replace a part of our panel of our wall underneath because it had some water damage. But they were so great to do this quite quickly, and I'm really impressed with that. The thing that I would change in the bathroom is, like I said before, I'd probably have the bathroom first and then the bunk rooms after. I just really like that layout, and I think that if we do ever rebuild, that's the layout I would go for. Actually, now that I think of it, another thing I would love to change in our bathroom is the water heater. You can get like an endless water heater that goes through the gas, so it takes like a little bit to get the water hot, but once it's hot, you don't really run out until you run out of gas, which could be quickly if you don't have much gas left. But if you have a full gas tank, you'll have a much longer shower, because right now we're kind of stuck with very short shower times each, which gets a bit annoying, especially in the colder areas. Now let's go over the floor. The dirty on the floor is the obvious thing of constantly needing to sweep and vacuum, but that's pretty much guaranteed when you live in such a tiny space and you're constantly walking sand in and out of here. But as for the floor itself, I'm really happy with this choice that we went with, the light timber look. It kind of hides all the hair and the dirt and all those lovely things that you find on your floor every day quite well. I've dropped bunches of things on this floor, like glass jars and cans and things. We've got tiny little dents in it in some spots, but it's not obvious and it's not a real big problem. So I wouldn't change the floor in any way. Then we'll go onto the walls and the cupboards. I can't remember exactly what they call it, but I think it's like a mark proof or a spot proof cabinetry that we went with. And on one hand, it is good for rubbing marks off quite easily. But on the other hand, if you get a pretty decent scratch, it shows up really obvious. I do like that you can put some elbow grease in there and you'll get the marks off, but I've got so many scratches and marks on our cupboards, especially from like the vacuum going past them, that I really need to scrub off. But for the walls, we haven't had any major damage, which is great. We've got dents and marks here and there. That's just guaranteed to happen when you've got little kids in a caravan or big adults in a caravan. So if we did rebuild, I wouldn't be changing our cabinetry either. I really like the white, and I love that we have the matching white locks as well. They've been really great and they're very easy to use. We've only had one that we've had to fix up, and that's our cutlery drawer. Sometimes it pops out when we're traveling. We're not sure why, because it's not broken, but maybe inside somewhere there's like less timber than there used to be, so it pops out that way. Who knows? We're yet to figure that one out. Now, with the appliances of the caravan, we've had no real issues. Yes, the aircon is absolutely filthy, but it's not needed any services yet or had any damage done to it, so I'm really happy with this aircon that we have. And it's not like we don't use it, because we are constantly turning this aircon on. We even sleep with it on most nights, so it's definitely had its use in the last 20 months, and I'm really hoping that soon it doesn't die on us. Our microwave is still amazing. I love it. The only thing that I would change about the microwave is the light that it produces at night time, but we've managed to fix that by just covering it up with some duct tape. Then we've got the range hood in the kitchen, which is really useful for when I'm cooking the Thermomix or if I bring out the induction cooktop. There's been no issues with it either, and not much to say about it because it's not that exciting. Our built-in speakers and stereo system have all worked great this whole time, and I use it daily to listen to music in the mornings. All of our Sirocco fans are still great, but it's really strange because occasionally it won't let me go to the third setting on these fans, so I'll be able to go to like speed 1 and 2, but it won't let me go to speed 3. But I've figured out that if I kind of like tilt them up and down and mess around with them a bit, it lets me do speed 3 again. It's definitely a Sirocco fan problem. I'm not sure how to fix it permanently, but it's not that big of a deal. Now, if we were to head outside, you'd notice that the Annexe and the awning are quite a mess. After finishing our big lap, this needed a huge cleanup. The red dirt was just absolutely stained all over the walls and the floor of the Annexe, but it was easy and quick enough to just clean up. We've had a few damages out here as well. We've got a hole in the top of the awning, and we've got holes throughout the Annexe as well, so we're getting a little bit of water leaking in lately, which we'll have to address soon because that is Tom's workspace. Another thing that broke was our awning rolling mechanism. It was actually as we were finishing our big lap, and we were doing a massive 30-hour drive from Northern Territory to Queensland, and it was that morning that we left. As we rolled up our awning, it got stuck, and Tom had to manually roll the awning up to get it to the point where we could drive it home to get it looked at and fixed. Thankfully, it was covered under warranty with the awning company, so they replaced it for us free of charge, and it's been great ever since. The only thing that we would change out here is install some sort of like clothesline or something like that, so that we can have somewhere to hang our clothes when they need drying, or towels when we come back from the beach, because a lot of the time we'll use the front of the trailer as our clothesline, and we forget that it's out there a lot of the time, and it gets wet again in the rain, which is a bit of a bummer. Tom would probably say that he would want to change a fair bit out there because it is his office space, and I'm sure he would love to have a real office, but there's some things that you have to trade for when you want to travel full time. And as for the exterior of the caravan itself, it is a little bit of a mess. It's covered in dents and scratches and marks. We scraped the entire side of the caravan with a tree once, so there's a giant scratch mark across all of the windows and the panels on one side. It was so sad when that happened. We've had multiple ant infestations, one of which we are still going through. These ants just don't let up, and I don't know what to do to keep them permanently away from us, but God, we have some ant infestations. We've also had some random random leaks through our seals, and that's just because the seals on the exterior were peeling away and we were having a leak just down our bedroom wall one morning. This was another thing easy to fix because it was obvious where the leak was coming from. But to come away from living in this caravan for 20 months with only this amount of dirt and damage, we're pretty impressed. I really hope you enjoyed watching this updated caravan tour after finishing our big life of Australia. And if you were looking into getting a wild trail caravan, I hope this video has helped you to see some things that you should expect or avoid or maybe change in your caravan build. If you did like this video, I'd really appreciate a thumbs up as it helps our channel to reach a wider audience. And if you want to see more of our caravanning around Australia, make sure you hit that subscribe button and you'll see us again next week. Thank you so much for watching.